One of my first memorable experiences in Da Nang was trying to cross the streets. The light was green for me and all of the motorbikes by the side of the road had stopped, but I didn't see the giant cement truck driving towards me and the truck almost hit me. That was when I realized that this city was way different from all of the YouTube videos that I have been watching for years. So in this video I will tell you the pros and the cons when you're moving to Da Nang for the first time in 2026. And the first pro will definitely be the quality of life to price ratio. You've probably heard it before, Da Nang has some of the best quality of life to price ratios in the entirety of Asia. One thing that I wish people told me is that this is only true for local products. One time I was shopping without looking at the prices, and when I was walking to the checkout and I realized that I just paid $8 for a small bag of chips. And the reason I paid so much is that it was a brand of like Western chips. I think it was Doritos or something. So if you're looking for Western brands or conveniences in your daily life, you're going to be paying a lot higher prices, even higher prices than at home in most cases. My biggest tip when you're shopping in Da Nang, make sure you're looking at the prices before you buy something and try to stick to local food and choose local options. Most local meals here are between $1 to $2, and you can also get a pretty nice apartment close to the beach for around $300 to $500 per month. Before I came here, I heard some rumors that the apartment prices were going up a lot, but I was still able to get in touch with an agent and get a pretty nice apartment for about $300 per month, and it's like a 5-minute walk to the beach. And although this place is a bit small, it literally has everything I need. So if you're a single person living by yourself, I don't think you're going to be needing more space than this. Although these low prices sound all good and well, there is one catch. Vietnam is developing rapidly. And like any developing city, the inflation is relatively high and the prices are going up fast. So if you're planning to move here for the long term, I would expect a steadily increase of prices over the years. Now for pro number 2, which is going to be the weather. If you're from a mostly gray and cold city like me, the weather will be a huge upgrade. In Da Nang, it's sunny most of the time. And my favorite part is that the sun comes up about 5 a.m. in the morning. So it wakes you up really well, which is great for your overall mood and happiness. However, in Da Nang, it's going to be extremely hot and humid most of the time, and the heat can be intense, especially if you're someone like me from a northern European city. When I came here, I decided that I'm going to accept the heat and I'm going to tolerate it. But there's no getting around that when you're in a city with high temperatures, you're going to be sweating a lot. I find myself becoming tired and sluggish at about 3 p.m. especially if I'm outside for a long time during the day. So if you're anything like me and you work online and you're trying to be productive, I would recommend trying to get your work done in the morning in some sort of cafe or air-conditioned space where you can work in peace. Now we have pro number 3, which is the beach. The beach in Da Nang is probably one of the nicest ones that I've ever seen. For me, coming from Northern Europe, living by a beach town has been a big quality of life upgrade. I love finishing work and being able to just walk outside for 5 minutes and go for a stroll on the beach. At the beach you can play volleyball, go for a swim, or just go for a stroll and look at the sea. It's definitely a luxury to have a beach like this a few minutes away from your apartment. And I think pro number 4 is going to be a bit more personal, but the mango smoothies here, they are so awesome and they're just by the beach. You can just walk right from the beach up to a mango smoothie stall, and they are probably one of the best that I've tasted in my entire life. And now we're getting into the cons. Con number 1 is definitely going to be the traffic over here. In Da Nang, the traffic system can be difficult to understand, and it can feel very chaotic if you are from Northern Europe like me. I feel like the traffic rules here are more like lightly enforced guidelines. When people are driving on the road, they sometimes try to make it as convenient for themselves as possible, without having much regard for others. And this can create some really scary situations, so you need to be cautious when you're trying to cross the road or if you plan to drive a motorbike. Personally, I have never driven a motorbike in Da Nang and I don't really have the guts to do that. But when you're crossing the road, which I've done a lot, I think it's best to just try to cross and let the motorbike swerve around you. Another thing that I kinda knew about before coming to Da Nang, but which really surprised me how much of an impact it has on you, is the constant honking. The drivers here honk to communicate with each other, which leads to constant noise on the road. I was aware of this before I came here and I thought that I would handle it easily. But it can definitely take a hit on your nervous system, especially the giant trucks with air horns that give me mini heart attacks throughout the day. Although you definitely get more and more used to it with time, it is definitely something to keep in mind before coming here. Because Vietnam overall, it is a developing country and things just aren't as organized here. And this leads me nicely to the next point, which is difficult streets and sidewalks. When I thought of Da Nang prior to moving, I visualized myself walking down the street with my hands in the air without a care in the world. But the reality is much different, and walking around in Da Nang trying to get somewhere can be extremely impractical at times. This is especially because many streets are very dirty and full of trash, and people park their motorbikes on the sidewalks, making the sidewalks practically unusable. Sometimes I also see people burning things on the sidewalks, and there's also a lot of construction work going on, like welding, and there are people fixing things on the sidewalks. So if you're trying to walk around in Vietnam, your best bet is to walk in the road. But when you're walking in the road, you're going to get swerved around by motorbikes, which can be annoying at first, but you're just going to have to get used to it if you want to live here. And as I talked a bit about before, another big thing in Da Nang is the construction. At the moment, Vietnam is experiencing a big boom in construction projects. There are new projects being started every single day, and some may even call it a big housing bubble that's going on in Vietnam at the moment. So if your apartment isn't already full of construction projects nearby, chances are there are going to be construction projects being started in the future. They usually start working at around 9 a.m. So if you wake up before 9 a.m., you're usually good. And for me personally, it's not that big of a deal. But if living close to construction is a deal breaker for you, I will definitely make sure that when you're booking an apartment, you tell your agent specifically that you want an area with no construction around it. So the chances are higher that you will be fine. I believe it's definitely possible to build a great life here if you come here with an open mind. Just try dropping the influencer perfect view of the city, and I think you're going to be fine. And would I move here knowing everything I now know about Da Nang? Yes, but the culture shock is definitely real. So if you come here thinking that everything will be smooth, you're going to get disappointed. I'm planning more and more videos about moving to Southeast Asia, so if that's something you're interested in, please consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for watching.